Whispers among the stars. The vast central chamber of the Galactic Archive stretched endlessly upward, its crystalline walls housing the collective knowledge of 37 sentient species. Historian Velieri moved silently along the transparent walkways, her six-fingered hands gliding across holographic interfaces as she navigated the restricted sections. Her translucent blue skin reflected the soft ambient light, gray eyes focused intently on her work. As senior archivist of pre-expansion history, Velieri had access to files most citizens of the Galactic Concordat would never see. Today, she was pursuing an anomaly, a series of data fragments that didn't align with established historical records. Terminal 17, execute search protocol Delta 9, she whispered, her voice triggering the archive's neural interface. Cross-reference all instances of extinct species designation H927. The system hummed softly before responding. Warning: files related to species H927 require Omega clearance. Current clearance insufficient. Velieri's antennae twitched with surprise. In 15 cycles of service, she had never encountered an Omega restriction, the highest possible security classification. Override using senior archivist credentials. Authorization Velieri Thex 4119. Override denied. These files are sealed by order of the High Council. Her curiosity now fully ignited, Velieri closed the official terminal and retrieved a small device from her pocket, a modified data probe that her friend Zorax had created, capable of slipping past certain archive restrictions. It wasn't strictly legal, but neither was hiding historical knowledge from the archive's own historians. The probe revealed only fragments. Extinction event of species designated humans remains classified. Considerable military capability. Genetic incompatibility with standard suppression methods. Decision to expunge all records justified by Council Resolution 7729. Humans. The word stirred something in Velieri's memory. An old legend, perhaps. Stories told by cargo haulers about ghost ships and abandoned worlds. She needed more information, and she knew exactly who might have it. Elder Scholar Kraft's laboratory occupied an entire wing of the Archive's Biological Research Center. The ancient Vex theory scientist had been studying xenobiology for over 300 cycles and was widely regarded as the Concordat's foremost expert on extinct species. Humans. The elder scholar's facial ridges contracted in what Velieri recognized as amusement. You've been listening to too many spacer tales, young one. Kraft's 6 eyes blinked asynchronously as he manipulated a holographic representation of cellular structures. His exoskeleton creaked softly as he moved around the laboratory. Then why are their files sealed with Omega classification? Velieri pressed. The old scientist paused, setting down a specimen container. Because myths can be dangerous when they inspire action. The stories of humans have caused incidents throughout our history. What kind of incidents? Kraft sighed, a wheezing sound that escaped through his breathing slits. There are always those who believe the legends, that humans were a warrior species of unparalleled ferocity, that they mastered technologies we still cannot comprehend, that they vanished not because they were destroyed, but because they chose to hide. He gestured to a nearby terminal. These beliefs have inspired rebellions, cults, even terrorist groups who claim to fight in the name of human ideals. The High Council classified all human-related data to prevent such disruptions. But you don't believe they existed? Velieri asked. I believe in evidence, Kraft replied. And in 500 years of searching, no one has found definitive proof that humans were anything more than stories designed to frighten children and inspire dissidents. Before Velieri could respond, her communication implant chimed. An urgent message from Zorax. Found something. Meet me at Docking Bay 12. Come alone. The lower levels of the Concordat Capital Station hummed with activity. Unlike the pristine upper sectors, these areas catered to transient workers, traders, and those who existed on the fringes of Concordat society. Docking Bay 12 was reserved for ships requiring quarantine, vessels that had traveled through uncharted regions or come into contact with potentially hazardous materials. Villieri found Zorax, the stocky Teridian engineer, standing outside a sealed medical containment unit. "What was so urgent?" she asked. Zorax's scaled skin rippled with tension. "A trader ship came in from the outer rim this morning. Single occupant, critically injured. Ship was barely holding together. Radiation damage, weapons fire. Nothing out there should have technology capable of creating that kind of damage." Villieri followed Zorax into the containment unit. On a medical bed lay a dying Mithridian, its crystalline body cracked and clouded. These silicon-based life forms typically live for centuries, their bodies virtually impervious to conventional damage. "He's been asking for an archivist," Zorax explained. "Says he has information that needs to be preserved." The dying trader's voice emerged as a strained harmonic resonance. "You preserve knowledge." "I do," Villieri confirmed, moving closer. "I'm a senior archivist." "Good. Listen carefully." The Mithridian's glow pulsed weakly. "The restricted zone in Sector 19-73. We thought it would be rich with rare minerals. Ignored the warnings. Found ruins instead. And then they found us." "Who found you?" Villieri asked. "Humans." The word emerged as barely a whisper. "They're real. Not extinct. Hiding. Watching. My crew. All gone. They let me live to deliver a message. The sleepers will soon awaken." The Mithridian's glow flickered, then stabilized. "They move like shadows, fight like storms. One human killed 20 of our security forces. They have technology that shouldn't exist." Villieri's mind raced. "Do you have proof?" With tremendous effort, the dying trader raised a crystalline appendage. Clutched within it was a small metal object. Their mark. Proof. As Villieri took the object, the Mithridian's glow faded permanently. In her hand was a metal patch, tarnished with age, but still legible. It depicted a strange symbol, a blue circle with white stars surrounding a stylized bird, and beneath it, words in an unknown script. Zorax leaned over to examine it. "Is that actual human writing?" "If it's real," Villieri whispered, "this changes everything." The Archive's Xenolinguistics laboratory was empty at this late hour, giving Villieri and Zorax privacy as they scanned the mysterious patch. "The material is unusual," Zorax noted, examining the analysis. "An alloy with elements we use, but structured differently at the molecular level." Villieri focused on the strange symbols. "The archive should be able to translate any known language. Let's see." She activated the translation matrix and waited. After several moments, the system responded. Language identified. English, primary human communication form. Translation: United Earth Space Command, per Audacia ad Astra. It even translates the motto. Villieri breathed. "Through boldness to the stars." Zorax's scales paled. This shouldn't be possible. If humans were just myths, their language wouldn't be in the archive's memory banks. "Someone has been lying to us," Villieri said. "For how long? And why?" She initiated another search, this time circumventing the official channels with Zorax's device. If the archive contains human language databases, what else might be hidden? The probe revealed fragments of sealed files, star charts marking human quarantine zones, incident reports of encounters with potential human remnants, and council directives to eliminate all evidence of these encounters. They've been systematically erasing an entire species from history, Villieri realized. But pieces remain. Zorax looked nervous. "We should stop. This is beyond Omega classification. This is the kind of knowledge that gets people disappeared." "That's exactly why we can't stop," Villieri countered. "History is my responsibility. If we've built our civilization on lies, I need to know why." 3 days later, aboard Zorax's maintenance vessel, They approached the coordinates mentioned by the dying Mithridian. Deep in Sector 19-73, a region officially designated as hazardous due to radiation storms. Proximity sensors aren't detecting any radiation. Zorax observed. Another lie. As they emerged from faster-than-light travel, a startling sight greeted them. Floating in space was a graveyard of ships, vessels of Concordat design, ancient and battle-scarred. "This looks like a battlefield," Velieri whispered. "From a war nobody remembers," Zorax added. They navigated carefully through the debris field toward a small planetoid. Scans revealed an artificial structure beneath the surface, some kind of bunker or base. After landing, they donned environmental suits and explored the facility. The architecture was unlike anything in Concordat records. Angular and utilitarian, built to withstand tremendous force. "These are blast doors," Zorax said, examining the entrance, "designed to withstand orbital bombardment." Inside, they found a command center filled with incomprehensible technology. Most systems were dead, but Velieri managed to activate a data terminal. The screen illuminated with the same symbol from the patch. "I might be able to extract some data," she said, connecting her archive access device. The screen flickered, then displayed images that chilled Velieri to her core. Recording of battles between Concordat ships and smaller, more agile vessels. The smaller ships were outmaneuvering the Concordat forces with impossible precision. When boarding actions were attempted, humanoid figures in armored suits moved with devastating effectiveness against Concordat troops. "The archive said humans were primitive," Zorax whispered. "These recordings show them defeating our most advanced warships." "Not just defeating," Velieri corrected, "annihilating them." Further files revealed the truth. Humans had been a rapidly expanding species whose technology evolved at an alarming rate. The Concordat, fearing their potential, had attempted a preemptive strike, a genocide to eliminate a perceived threat. But the humans had survived, disappearing into uncharted regions after inflicting devastating losses on their attackers. The High Council, rather than admit their failure, had chosen to erase humans from history entirely. Velieri's device chimed with an alert. "We've got incoming Concordat military vessels." "How did they find us?" Zorax asked, panic evident in his voice. "The archive system must have flagged my searches despite our precautions." Velieri quickly downloaded as much data as possible. "We need to leave. Now." As they rushed back to their ship, a final set of files caught Velieri's attention. Coordinates for locations called sleeper facilities along with countdown timers. The nearest timer showed less than one standard cycle remaining. "The sleepers will soon awaken," she recalled the Mithridian's words. Their ship barely escaped as Concordat cruisers descended on the facility, obliterating it with orbital fire. But as they fled into faster-than-light travel, Velieri's scanner detected something else. A signal, faint but distinct, originating from the direction of the nearest set of coordinates. The signal used no known Concordat communication protocol. It was something different, something older, something human. "Set course for these coordinates," she told Zorax, displaying the location. "I think we're about to meet the species that never existed." The Awakening. The maintenance vessel shuddered as it dropped out of faster-than-light travel. Zorax's skilled hands danced across the controls, stabilizing their approach toward a desolate region of space. Before them floated what appeared to be an asteroid field, but Velieri's sensors told a different story. "Those aren't natural formations," she said, examining the readings. "They're camouflaged structures." The signal they had detected was growing stronger, emanating from within the field. As they navigated closer, the true nature of their destination revealed itself. A massive space station, cunningly disguised to blend with the surrounding asteroids. Its design was unlike anything in Concordat records, with sleek lines and geometric patterns that somehow seemed both alien and intuitive. "No wonder it's remained hidden," Zorax muttered. "Even at this distance, our sensors can barely distinguish it from the surrounding rocks." A soft alert chimed from the communication panel. The mysterious signal had changed, now broadcasting on a frequency their systems could interpret. Unidentified vessel, came a synthesized voice, neither male nor female. You have entered restricted space. Identify yourself and state your purpose. Veliere glanced at Zorax, then leaned toward the transmitter. This is historian Veliere of the Galactic Archive and engineer Zorax. We're following coordinates discovered in an abandoned facility in Sector 19-73. We seek knowledge about humans. Silence followed, stretching uncomfortably. Then, transmit visual confirmation. The screen before them activated, displaying what could only be a security scan of their vessel and themselves. Moments later, a section of the station's outer hull slid open, revealing a docking bay. Proceed to Docking Bay Alpha. Any deviation from the assigned path will result in immediate defensive measures. Zorax guided their ship into the cavernous hangar, which sealed behind them with disconcerting speed. The air pressure normalized, and environmental readings indicated a breathable atmosphere. Should we be armed? Zorax asked nervously. Veliere shook her head. If these are truly humans, and they're as advanced as the records suggest, our weapons would be useless. We're here for truth, not conflict. As they exited their vessel, they found themselves in an immaculate hangar bay that showed no signs of the centuries it had likely existed. Lights activated automatically as they walked, illuminating their path toward a large doorway. "Welcome to Sanctuary Station," announced the same synthesized voice. "Follow the illuminated pathway. Do not deviate." The corridor led them deep into the station, through areas that seemed designed for a humanoid species with proportions not dissimilar to many Concordat races. They passed rooms filled with incomprehensible technology, laboratories with preserved specimens, and what appeared to be living quarters, all abandoned but maintained to perfection by automated systems. Finally, they reached a vast circular chamber. At its center stood a raised platform, containing 7 large pods, 6 dark and dormant, 1 glowing with soft blue light. The pods were connected to elaborate machinery that hummed with power. "Cryogenic suspension," Zorax whispered, his engineering knowledge recognizing the purpose if not the specifics. "Long-term biological preservation." Before they could approach closer, a holographic figure materialized before them. A simplistic representation of a bipedal being with a featureless face. "You have traveled far, Archivist Veliere," the figure stated. "Your search queries in the Galactic Archive triggered our monitoring systems. You seek truth about humanity." "Yes," Veliere confirmed. "The official records claim humans are myths, but we found evidence suggesting otherwise. Evidence the Concordat has spent centuries trying to erase," the hologram added. "Yet you pursued this knowledge despite the risks. Why?" "Because history is truth," Veliere replied without hesitation. "And truth matters, even when it's inconvenient, especially then." The hologram seemed to study her for a moment. "You understand better than most of your kind. I am HFY, Advanced Residential Intelligence Assistant. I have maintained this facility for 317 standard years, awaiting the proper conditions for revival protocol." The blue-lit pod began to emit a soft hissing sound as its surface transformed from opaque to transparent. Inside was a humanoid figure, smaller than Veliere had expected, with pale skin and dark hair. "Commander Ilara Hayes, United Earth Defense Force," Araya announced, one of the last human military leaders to enter cryosleep during the Exodus Protocol. The pod opened completely, revealing a female human dressed in a fitted black uniform. For several tense moments, she remained motionless. Then, with a sudden gasp, her eyes flew open, startlingly blue against her pale complexion. Veliere and Zorax stepped back instinctively as the human sat up, blinking rapidly. The woman focused on them, her expression shifting from confusion to alert wariness in an instant. "Araya," her voice was hoarse from disuse. "Situation report. Revival Protocol Alpha activated. Commander, The AI responded. Current year is 2787 by Earth Standard Calendar. 317 years since Exodus completion. 2 visitors from the Galactic Concordat are present, a historian and an engineer. They discovered Echo Base Delta and followed the activation signal. The human, Commander Hayes, studied them carefully as she disconnected various monitoring devices from her body. Her movements were precise and deliberate, betraying no weakness despite centuries of suspended animation. "You know about the Concordat," Velieri observed, finding her voice. "Yet the Concordat claims your species never existed." Hayes smiled thinly. "History is written by the victors, or so they thought." She stood, steadying herself against the pod. "The Concordat didn't defeat us. They merely convinced everyone they did. Much cleaner that way." "But why?" Zorax asked. "Why erase an entire species from history?" Hayes gestured toward a nearby console, which activated at her approach. "Area, display the Battle of Proxima Centauri." A holographic display appeared, showing Concordat warships engaging smaller, more maneuverable vessels. The smaller ships, human vessels, were vastly outnumbered but fighting with remarkable effectiveness. "The Concordat attacked our colony without warning," Hayes explained, her voice hardening. "They expected an easy victory against what they considered a primitive species. They were wrong." The display showed human vessels employing tactics and technology that turned the tide, eventually forcing the Concordat fleet to retreat with heavy losses. "We weren't the aggressors," Hayes continued, "but we were rapidly advancing. Our adaptability, our innovation, it frightened them. The High Council decided we were too unpredictable, too dangerous to be allowed to develop further. So they attempted genocide," Velieri concluded, horror evident in her voice. "ARIA, defense protocols," Hayes ordered, moving with surprising speed to a wall panel that slid open to reveal what could only be weapons. "How many ships?" 3 cruiser-class vessels, approximately 500 personnel," the AI responded. Hayes handed sleek devices to Velieri and Zorax. "These will protect you. Stay behind me and do exactly as I say." The station trembled as the first impacts struck its outer defenses. Concordat forces had arrived, determined to eliminate the evidence and the witnesses. "We need to reach the command center," Hayes said, leading them through corridors that were now bathed in pulsing red light. They encountered the first Concordat soldiers at an intersection, 6 heavily armed troops in standard military exoskeletons. Before Velieri could even register fear, Hayes moved with shocking speed and precision. Her weapon emitted no visible beam, but 3 soldiers dropped instantly. She rolled beneath the fire of the others, coming up behind them and dispatching them with brutal efficiency. The entire encounter lasted less than 10 seconds. "By the void," Zorax whispered. The stories were true. Hayes barely seemed winded. That was just the advance team. More will come. In the command center, displays showed Concordat forces deploying throughout the station. Hayes activated systems that had lain dormant for centuries: defense turrets, shield generators, and communication arrays. "I'm transmitting the revival signal to all facilities," she explained, fingers dancing across interfaces. "The Concordat may silence us here, but they can't stop what's coming." "And what exactly is coming?" Velieri asked. "The truth," Hayes replied, followed by humanity's return to the galactic stage. Another explosion rocked the station. "Hull breach in sectors 7 through 9, Area reported. Estimated time until complete station compromise: 17 minutes. Hayes nodded grimly. "Time to leave." "Area, initiate Protocol Omega." Protocol Omega confirmed. Self-destruct sequence initiated. All data transferring to secure repositories. Hayes turned to Velieri and Zorax. "Your ship can't outrun Concordat cruisers. We'll take mine." She led them through hidden passages to a smaller hangar bay where a sleek vessel waited, black and angular, with no visible propulsion systems. "A Phantom-class infiltrator," Hayes explained as they boarded. Concordat sensors can't track it. The interior was designed for efficiency, with 4 cryopods against one wall. On the opposite side, a small chamber held weapons and equipment. Where are we going? Zorax asked as Hayes activated the ship's systems. To awaken the others, she replied. Starting with the research facility in the Hades cluster. We have scientists there who can help spread the truth. As the ship glided silently out of the disintegrating station, Concordat vessels continued their bombardment, unaware that their targets had escaped. Behind them, Sanctuary Station erupted in a controlled matter-antimatter reaction, leaving nothing but scattered debris. Even if we reveal the truth, Velieri said, watching the destruction on a monitor, the Concordat won't simply accept humanity's return. There will be conflict. There already is conflict, Hayes corrected. Truth versus lies. History versus propaganda. Your people have lived inside a carefully constructed illusion for centuries. Some will fight to preserve that illusion. And the rest? Zorax asked. The rest will have to choose, Hayes replied. Just as you two did when you discovered that fragment of truth. There's no going back now. The Phantom-class ship accelerated smoothly into faster-than-light travel, heading toward the first of many awakenings. As the stars streaked past, Velieri contemplated the enormity of what had been set in motion. Humanity was returning to a galaxy that had tried to forget them. The species that had been erased from history was about to write a new chapter, and this time, no one would be able to deny their existence. In the pilot's seat, Commander Hayes studied navigational data, her expression resolute. 3 centuries of waiting had ended. The sleepers had awakened, and the galaxy would never be the same. We have a saying, Hayes told her new allies as they prepared for the journey ahead. Truth is the first casualty of war, but it's also the last thing standing when the dust settles. The ship vanished into the depths of space, carrying with it the spark that would ignite a revolution of truth across the stars. A revolution led by the species that never existed.